We're okay.
Lovely. Nice to see you.
And you?
And you?
Very well indeed.
Good.
My son has highly recommended this evening.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So it's on him, is it, if we don't like it?
Now that's a little unfair.
It's very unfair.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good evening, everyone. Just looking around. I don't think our guest speaker's on yet. Coming now. Good stuff. People are flocking in. People are flocking in.
Evening, everybody.
Shalom, Sivan.
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, better.
I'll see you.
I'm the Belmont.
Yeah. So I understand it's in Hebrew tonight. I hear your Hebrew.
Yeah, they don't realize their rabbi is Israeli, but what can you do?
Originally Israeli, Mamash?
I mean, I have a Tuzazahut and a passport.
Okay.
My wife and I were living in Israel when we got married, and we decided to make Aliyah while we were living there because we wanted to be Israelis while we were living there, and our elder two daughters also were born there, and so we can go to Israel now. But no one else can. We can't bring the little ones because they
I hear many stories of families in those situations now. Wow.
Yeah, where the husband can get in and the wife can't.
Yeah.
1 second. So we're just a few people are coming in. We put it on Facebook.
Take your time. It's okay.
What do you mean? It's late in Israel. It's like
yeah.
Okay. If everyone else can mute themselves, that would be fantastic. Everyone's doing mute, great. So, what have I done there? Welcome everyone to Belmont. And I think everyone else is actually a member of Belmont, except for our fantastic guest speaker. So I just want to welcome her in a second, and just it's great to see those of you that have managed to come joining us live, those of you that are watching on Facebook, those of you that are watching here on Zoom, those of you that are going to watch the recording, because those people that are here are going to tell you how amazing it is. I'm going to tell you you're going to have to go and watch it on the recording afterwards. So wherever you're watching it, whenever you're watching it, it's going to be worth every second of your time. I have been following Sivan for a few years myself. It's a name that has been known to me. She is an international educator, guest speaker all over the world. Has been, I think she'll maybe tell us a little bit more about herself, but more recently has been doing a lot of work with Mizrahi, World Mizrahi UK. I think I saw something in the Jerusalem Post says she was one of the most 50 influential Jews in the world. So we're ready to be influenced. But we're genuinely very excited. I think one of the best things I ever saw, she came to the UK a few times. We spoke to the Rabbonim a couple of years ago, back in the days where we could actually be in person. And I'm sure that some of you caught the amazing conversation that they did with Rabbi Sachs of blessed memory and Rabbi Shaw that Sivan did. I think it was probably 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
Something like that. So really, and someone actually like a few years ago, I was like, oh, it'd be amazing if we come to Belmont, and it never got even on the path. And then Mizrahi, I'm just, not to schmooze too much, but Mizrahi sent out a message a few months ago saying we're going to do this week of inspiration. Anyone that wants, any initial ones, go onto the website, have a look through all the speakers, and there were like 150 speakers, and say who you want. So I went with one person to have in mind, and that was to get Sivan. I wanted the opportunity for us to come to speak in Belmont. Anyway, I've said a few nice things of introduction. I think David said the talk tonight, something from Meir to Shavuot via Yom Yerushalayim maybe, but anything that Sivan's going to speak about is going to be very powerful, very inspirational, no pressure. And I'm sure at the end, maybe if she's got time for questions, then maybe we'll see how that goes. But without further ado, welcome to Welcome to Belmont, Sivan, Rahav, Meir.
Wow, thank you, Rabbi, and good evening, Belmont. Erev Tov from Yerushalayim. I just came back from work. I work at the Neve Ilan Studios, the biggest TV studio in Israel, Channel 12. I'm a news anchor. I'm a journalist. I also try to teach Torah, and everything you plan, I think, in the last 2 years is, in a way, the circumstances are very, I think, flexible. Think about it. I used to think every year I have this weekend of inspiration in Mizrahi UK. They organize it. Rabbi Andrew Shaw, Rabbi David Rubin, Lynn, I understand she's part of your community. And I also have another friend from Dan Seckler, I understand, also grew up in Belmont. So basically from Rabbi Isaac's office. So I understand basically every year we have this new tradition, weekend of inspirations. We come to London, even Manchester, even Leeds. Rabbi Shaw took me to the Jewish community in Leeds, and we started that tradition. Things changed. COVID-19 changed everything, and we can't really meet each other. And at first I thought, yeah, we'll speak about COVID-19, about Yom Yerushalayim. But then once again, that tragedy surprised us here in Israel. Everything changed. The pulse in Israel changed, and I believe in the Jewish world. One of the victims is from Britain originally, and we have people from Argentina and Canada and the States. And basically what happened was 45 souls, 45 people. I believe the first message is basically when people speak now about chizuk, about chizuk. So many people say the first thing is just obey the law, just do things, v'nishmartem me'od lenafshotechem. Chizuk it's holy to take care of, dangerous places, too crowded, the rules, the legislation. It's holy. It's also part of our Torah. That's the base, and I believe it will be investigated and Be'ezrat Hashem will be improved. It's really a tragedy. But the second thing that happens is, and maybe you feel it abroad, but here you can feel it in the air, special type of solidarity for the first time. After a hard, challenging year, COVID-19, I think the sectors are really getting closer in a way, unlike the political system. The citizens, the people of Israel, I hear really like tremendous stories. People send me, I'll give you just a few examples from today. This girl called Karin asked me, I thought about it, and I'm on Facebook all day, but those ultra-Orthodox families, they're not there, obviously, especially now during, the Shiva, they're not there. So can I type pages of Facebook posts, Instagram tweets, and bring it to them physically? Because I don't want them to miss what people are writing, the exciting things people are writing about them. One example, okay? So many examples of Israeli Arabs that want to take part. And people who told me yesterday, I was in Bnei Brak, the Zakbach family of Menachem Zakbach of blessed memory. They asked me to come to speak to the young widow. And afterwards, I saw something really incredible. Two secular young people came in, and I was like, who are they? But they told me, the family told me, it's 24/7. People just come. They don't know us. They want to be a part of it. And one of the people who came 2 days before, he said, I saw the faces on Friday morning, and I couldn't turn on, no TV, no internet during Shabbat. And I'm completely secular, he said. I thought about those holy people. I knew their faces. I saw the faces, and I felt they don't want me to see their faces on Shabbat. And I realized whenever I go, I'll see it. So I completely disconnected, nothing. And then I came to the Shiva on Sunday because I felt he couldn't even explain what he felt. So when those two secular people came, the family told me, okay, people come every day with stories. But they said, those two people, they were from Haifa. From Haifa to Bnei Brak, you drive for an hour if you want to come to this family. And they said, it's the first time we enter the house of an ultra-Orthodox family, of a Haredi family. We are Chilonim, you are Haredim. It's the first time we enter a living room and we see it physically with our own eyes, not through, TV mask, everything. No, it's us here for the first time. And the family told them in response, they said, you know what? This week, the Shiva week, it's the first time secular people enter this house. For us, we never had secular guests here. It's not a normal situation. Why do we need that tragedy in order to just speak? Afterwards you hear people, in the Knesset, the parliament, they shout and yell and they have those disputes and conflicts. But how can you have a conflict? You never visited his house. You never saw his wife, the kids, the living room, the refrigerator. You never saw the walls. So how can you speak about agendas and ideologies? First of all, you should know each other. So this tragedy makes, I think, 45 families. We have now 45 centers of kiruv levavot, of coming closer and coming together and getting together. Something happens in the air. I tell you, whenever I hear stories, my Facebook feed, just stories about people for the first time they speak. Rabbi Israel Meir Lau was interviewed this week, and he said, we're champions when it comes to dying together. We're the best. But why can't we be the best when it comes to living together? I think that's the Jewish challenge. And in a way, I think Shavuot might be the answer for that. We're still counting the Omer, Baruch Hashem, almost there. And I think Shavuot, in a way, I read it, it's not my idea, that Shavuot makes us for the first time unite, not because of a tragedy. It's not because they were chasing us, they were after us, something awful happened. It has nothing to do with death and mourning and shiva and grief. No. It's a positive magnet. It's around like identity. Imagine Har Sinai, Mount Sinai. Imagine the people around it. It's a positive, something that attracts you for the first time. It's your center of identity. It's not the Holocaust. It's not terror attacks or tragedies like Meron. No. We don't want to be Jews because we're miserable. We want to be Jews because we're devoted and engaged and happy to stand here together. And that's what we're about to do on the 6th day of Sivan, soon, on Chag Shavuot. So that's just the beginning of, introduction, because I can't start speaking from Yerushalayim without mentioning, what happened. I want to discuss maybe 2 or 3 words that I discovered this year. I rediscovered during that year we had. I would love to read your comments. The chat is... you can type your messages. I'll read them while I'm speaking, and maybe we'll have some Q&A at the end. I'd love to hear you. I want to start with the word shlichut. As the rabbi mentioned, we were on shlichut. We, meaning my husband Yedidia and I, and our 5 kids, we went on shlichut. World Mizrahi movement sent us to the States. It happened after many years of... I'm still a journalist. I work as a journalist. I started, by the way... I want to show you a few slides. Can the host make me able, like, let me like screen share? Is it okay?
Done. You can.
Yeah, make me a co-host. Yeah, great. Toda rabba. Yeah, we all became Zoom experts this year. So
Not everyone. Some people. This community is very good. Not everyone's an expert yet.
So that's me. You can definitely recognize me. Sitting next to Yitzhak Rabin of blessed memory, the Prime Minister of Israel back then. And I remember that was my childhood. I became a journalist at the age of 6 or 7. I started interviewing people on Israeli TV, famous people, politicians, singers, celebrities, all kinds of figures. And that was my childhood basically. And I grew up, knowing that's what I'm going to do. Well, I'll be a journalist. You can see me here, by the way. That's a primetime show on Channel 2. A very popular show. There were like auditions, and I was chosen to interview Rabin. Sunflowers were very trendy back then. That was the year. But basically, what you see here, that was my childhood. Okay, and after so many years, since the age of 6 until I'm 39 today, I just interview people on Israeli TV. I became religious at the age of 15. It sounds weird, but the first time I met someone who is Dati, who is Orthodox, was at the age of 15. I never met someone who keeps Shabbat, keeps Kashrut. Unfortunately, I grew up extremely secular. But then I realized there's something called Shabbat. That was the beginning of everything. It was like a scoop. I'm a journalist. I'm looking for items. I'm looking for scoops. And the real scoop I discovered that was revealed was Shabbat. The concept of, disconnect in order to connect. The concept of, what this guy in Tel Aviv just discovered this Shabbat because of Meron. You do no internet, no TV, no phones, no money, but it's not just the no, it's the yes. Okay, I'll show you something that will explain my experience, the way I see Shabbat. Basically, I think it describes all the mitzvot, our Jewish obligation, but I think it describes Shabbat, especially in a beautiful way. What you see here, this thing was made by the Israeli artist Nir Menusi, and it explains a little bit about me as a teenager. When I first saw what Shabbat is all about, I felt there are so many laws that you can't do this, you can't go, you can't touch, you can't pay, you can't call, you can't drive. So what do you do all day? But the magic is, and that's what you see here, Nir Menusi explains us, you see here many lo, your Hebrew is fine, I guess. So you see lo, meaning no. But these law are very small. And if you count them, you'll see we have 39 laws here. La, lo, 39 times. Lamed tet, 39. These are the principles, avot ha-melacha, what we call the principles of Shabbat. The 39 things are not allowed to do on Shabbat. And we learn from those, I would say, the basic principles. We learn all the halachot and what we do or not do on Shabbat. So basically, Shabbat is based on those laws, but it creates a huge, meaningful, sweet ken. And that was my scoop as a 15, 16 years old girl. That was the I would say, new concept of Shabbat. I thought Shabbat is something frustrating. You can't, you just can't do anything. But at the end of the day, if you say no to small things, you reach a huge thing called Kedusha, holiness, menucha, peaceful. You reach something, and you can't achieve it without those laws. You can't just have Shabbat's atmosphere without Shabbat's halachot. And that's the magic. When I was 15, that was the beginning of my journey toward Judaism. I started keeping Shabbat. By the way, you can spend your whole life stuck between those small law, even as someone who is Shomer Shabbat. But if you zoom out, from a bird's eye view, I think you see what you create. When you say law to something small, at the end of the day, you reach something huge, Ken. That was the beginning of my journey. So I was already a journalist, and I became Shomer Shabbat, and I tried to add more mitzvot. But the shlichut, the real shlichut, started, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. That's it. Baruch Hashem, I got married. We have 5 kids. And after Yehudit was born, I didn't want to continue covering, Israeli current events, like daily news. That I've had enough, and I felt this is not my shlichut. Okay, that's not Hashem created me in order to do other things. And I remember during my maternity leave, Yedidia told me, my husband, he asked, so what do you want to do? And I said, I love Parashat HaShavua. Maybe I'll try to cover the Parasha as an item, That's my job, I need rating, I need people to be interested. For years I did it in the Knesset. I covered the Knesset, the parliament. It's never boring there. The Supreme Court, you always have things here in Israel going, demonstrations and peace agreements and wars, unfortunately, and all kinds of events. And now for the first time, I took those tools, that ability, in order to cover the Parsha. That's what I did. I posted something about the Parsha. It became, Facebook informs you, it's the best, the most popular post you ever posted. And this miracle, Baruch Hashem, started, every morning. I wrote something short about the Parsha, and it became, Baruch Hashem, very popular. We started a weekly shiur and this daily idea, and it began, in a way, it became wider and very successful. And I discovered people are interested in Judaism. That was another scoop. And then I discovered you, the Jews outside of Israel. You can listen, you hear my accent, right? It's not a British accent, no, for sure. I'm an Israeli, 7th generation Israeli, meaning my kids are 8th generation Israelis. That's really rare, Baruch Hashem. My ancestors came here during the first Aliyah. They were real pioneers. They founded the city of Rishon LeZion. Today it's a huge city at the center of Israel. So I'm an Israeli. And I was really focused, the center of my attention was Israel. I couldn't care less when it comes to Jews abroad. I always thought you can make Aliyah if you want. You're welcome. And you can also donate, okay? We will never say no if you will send money. That's very nice. That's it. I knew nothing about your communities and education. Nothing. And then 4 or 5 years ago, I started work. Something changed. Because I started to teach Torah, when you touch the truth, I think the circles, they expand, something becomes wider. And I get to know the communities abroad. They invited me to be scholar in residence for the first time to see what's going on there. I came to teach, but basically now I know Hashem sent me to learn, to see how it's built. I remember the first community that invited me because I had those shiurim. They wanted to listen to Torah shiurim. They invited me to a synagogue called Best Jacob Shul in LA. It's a huge community. I remember I entered the building, fancy building. I said to myself, it's like a hall with red carpets, and that's not a synagogue. Bet Knesset, it's not a Bet Knesset. And then somebody comes, he says, "Hello, I'm the president of the shul." And I'm like, he's laughing at me, right? He's joking. Why do you need a president for a shul? And his wife is like, "Yeah, I'm his wife." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's the first lady." I was sure, he's like, it's a joke. Now, and he goes, "This is the rabbi." Okay, you have a rabbi. "This is our assistant rabbi." Why do you need help for your rabbi? What's wrong? Why does he need help? "This is the youth coordinator." What do you need a youth coordinator? My husband goes, David's Milcha here, comes back. I don't need a president. I don't need a youth coordinator. It took me some time to realize your identity is based on the shul. It's like the heart of your community, and everything happens there. It's a social center. It has, different ages, different activities. Everything happens there. They go to APAC. They go, the skiing, everything. And groups. Wow. It's interesting. You don't have it here, that type of communities. And then they took me to their private schools, Jewish education. And every month we spent like a Shabbaton in a different community. Also, we met the communities in LA. Mizrahi, UK, they brought us to, I think, dozens of community. It's a shame I didn't see Belmont. We will work on it soon, because really, Leeds, I was in the synagogues in Leeds, but I didn't see Belmont. That's impossible. And Manchester, and really, we had so many events. Hasmanian and many schools. And now, Mizrahi, after a year of, traveling, World Mizrahi Movement asked us to go on Shlichut seriously, to leave Israel, to take that mission, live Israel, and seriously be like Shaliach Sochnut, like Shaliach Bnei Akiva. So you will also be Shlichim, and you'll go and live in America for a year. It was quite crazy, but we said yes. Here, that's us. Yedidia standing next to me. The person saying shalom is Arav Doron Peretz. Rabbi Doron Perez is the head of Mizrahi Movement today, and that's me and Aharon and Tamar, Netanel and Hillel, and at the center you see the sweet Yehudit. And we took Reb Cook's picture with us to New York, to remember Eretz Israel during our Shlichut. We planned to be there for 2 years. Everything was booked and planned, the flights, the tickets, the schools, health insurance, everything. And then something happened. Yeah, no spoilers, but after a year we had to come back. It was impossible to stay. Everything was canceled. Everything was closed. 20 journeys with flights and hotels and communities were deleted, erased. My schedule, I still see it sometimes. Now I was supposed to be in Boston, and now I'm just here, just here between the kitchen and the living room. And that's the word I wanted to describe. Remember, I told you 2 words. The first word is shlichut. I thought I'm on shlichut. Yeah, that's your kol hakavod. Good for you. You speak in Montreal and Toronto, and then you go to Florida, and then California, and then Maryland and Chicago and Boston and Dallas and Memphis. I was there every day. Flights and Shabbatonim with the family. Incredible. Jersey, Manhattan, go, come, great. I was on shlichut, right? So people ask me, "Oh, now what? Your shlichut stopped? Will you go back to America to continue your shlichut?" And after a year, I want to tell them, I didn't understand. I'm on shlichut this year much more. This shlichut is harder, it's more challenging, and maybe it's even more important. We were completely locked, just like you. We had lockdowns and 3, and we had to be quarantined when we came back to Israel. I'll show you. Remember how we left? So exciting. That's how we left. So that's how we came back. Completely shocked. Before Pesach, we had to leave. We had 10 hours to pack. We found the last flight. El Al stopped. They stopped all the flights before Pesach. The world was frightened. Everything was like frozen and closed. Everything was so dark. We left America. It was the only flight that day from Newark. Imagine Newark, everything, just you don't see anyone. You're there by yourself. We were I think the only family on the plane with just a few more people. And then we landed. You see us here, Ben
Did you
Gurion
leave one of
Airport.
your kids there?
Well, yeah, no, she's taking the picture.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
No, oh yeah, we left her in America. Yeah, she was. Yeah, we forgot her there. No, but seriously, there was no one there to take the picture. You understand the situation? I mean, it's like we're the only people. Imagine Ben Gurion Airport, crowded, so many Israelis. It's just you. You feel like it's really the Mashiach can really come. My husband said it's like the end of the world. It's beginning of redemption. Something is happening here. The world is frozen, and we fly from the States to Israel. We were quarantined for 14. Just imagine the woman that checked us, the Ministry of Health. They had that when you leave Ben Gurion Airport, you have to fill a form and tell them now you will be like isolated, quarantined for 14 days, and you give them the address, and they check. So she finishes with us, and then she leaves the place with us, and she locks. I see her. She locked Ben Gurion Airport. Can you imagine something like this? The doors are locked. And she tells us, yes, you're the last people here today. We're closing. I'm like, what? That's like you feel like in a movie or something. Like Noah's Ark. I don't know. We're the only people here. She's locking and we're going. It's like, is it a store? It's like a mini market. What's going on here? Supermarket? That's it. And that's how we left. You know, that's how we left America. Quite shocking. But the meaning of the word shlichut, for me now, it's much deeper. Because we lived for a year, just us. 7 people. 4 walls, that's it. Shabbatot and Chagim and holidays. During the week, day and night, eating, learning, davening, everything. Fighting, everything. And you experience, you know what I'm talking about. I think this was a year of shlichut to all of us. So when people tell me, oh, you were on the stage in Florida, 500 Americans were clapping. Yeah. Now I know 5 kids. They're not. No, they don't listen to me. They are different. They're not Americans. They're 5 Israeli kids, and they don't want to do what you say. And now you have to take care of their Zoom learning and distance learning and everything. Wow, what a year! I want to tell you because I understand the situation in London is also gets better. Baruch Hashem. Now, Bezrat Hashem, Baruch Hashem. In Israel, where Baruch Hashem for 2 months we're completely, everything. The kids go to school. I have event. Everything is. I hardly see, Zoom. Zoom means if I have, a Zoom lecture, the kids know it's someone from outside of Israel, because we almost finished. I hope, and we celebrated many events. And now for Shavuot and Yom Yerushalayim, people can be together once again. And in a way, I believe this was our shlichut this year. Chazal, they say. And Talmud, they say, Kirot beito shel Adam meidim alav. They ask, our commentators, they ask, what will you be asked in heaven? Okay, in Gan Eden, the Olam Elyon. What will they ask you? Okay, like there's an interview there. I'm a journalist. And there are many questions people will ask you. And who will testify? Who will give a testimony? Who you are? Okay, who you really are. And the answer is, Kirot beito shel Adam meidim alav. The walls of the person's house, they will testify. They will give that testimony. They know who he really is. That year was quite a year of, they know who we are. We grew up. We grew here. Everything. It's much harder. Working on your midot, building your character, everything. Patience, family, between husband and wife, kids, with our parents or grandparents. I have a grandmother, 86. She was all alone. I think those mitzvot became our shlichut this year. Avera became mitzvah, and mitzvah became avera. In a minute, you can't hug your grandmother. Now it's not a mitzvah. You can't pray together. Now it's not a mitzvah. So the word shlichut changed for me. I hope I will remember it. But what I'm doing here with my kids, that's also shlichut. And what you do inside, not outside, inside building an inner world, that's also shlichut. May we be'ezrat Hashem remember it afterwards. The second word I want to share is mesirut nefesh. What do we mean mesirut nefesh? Self-devotion, okay, self-sacrifice. Maybe I should, I don't know, do you speak Ivris in there? Mesirus nefesh? I don't know what's, In America, whoa,
Mesirut Nefesh.
Mesirut Nefesh. Good. Yeah, you're in Israel. Yeah. Because in America, it's like all those I can't speak Hebrew or English. I can't speak their Ivris. It was like anyway. So I believe everything we learned is about our history, mutual history, and they had a lot of Mesirut Nefesh, courage, heroism, bravery. They were giborim, heroes during the Holocaust, pogroms, whatever you want to describe. I think 6,000 years or 9,000, 2,000 years of Mesirut Nefesh. Every chapter, every state, every continent, wherever you check, our forefathers, they had that, I think that's the best way to describe them. Okay, wherever they were. Now what? Now everything is nice and cozy and comfortable. Now everything is available and accessible, right? The world is in Israel, in the States, in London. Baruch Hashem, we live in great democracies, developed countries, Western countries. Most of the world doesn't suffer those things anymore. Majority of the Jews are, good situation. Great. Amazon Prime, you know what it is? You have it, right? Amazon Prime. This is the Amazon Prime period. You want it, you get it. You want it, you get it. Everything's available. Everything's accessible. Torah is also. Just Google it. I don't know if people learn more. Once they had one holy book of Gemara and they learned it by heart. Now they have everything. Everything's on Google. But you learn less. You can, seriously, you have it all. I remember the first day in America. First day I went to work. I worked for YU, Yeshiva University, Stern College for the girls. So I remember I was walking. It was Lexington Avenue on my way to work. First day, I was very excited during our shlichut, and this person was selling there. On the street, he was selling fresh squeezed orange juice. And I was like, yeah, I wanna. That will help me relax a little bit, some energy. Yes. So I asked him. I said, I want a small cup of fresh orange juice, and 30 seconds afterwards, he gives me a cup. I think this size. And I'm like, no, ask for a small one. He says, yes, lady, this is small. This is medium. This is large. Welcome to America. I said, okay, yeah, welcome to America. This is your small. Everything is huge. It's too much. You want it, you get it. And that's small. That was the first lesson in America. And then Amazon Prime came. I remember it was for us. You become addicted. I mean, you just order things, no lists, no planning. What do I want? Do I want it? Do I need it? It's like, so everything's easy. I have nothing to do with Mesirut Nefesh now, right? No, I keep Shabbat, I keep Kashrut. It's very easy to do. You have it. You have different versions. You can just buy and order. I want to tell you something about Mesirut Nefesh. We wrote a new chapter in Jewish history this year. And the headline, the topic is Mesirut Nefesh. Different type of Mesirut Nefesh. It's not the Germans, the Nazis, the communists. No. It's this weird pandemic. But think about it. Look at us now, learning Torah through Zoom. Think about your tefillot. Think about your chagim. Think about bar bat mitzvah celebrations. Think about the weddings, brit milah, lehavdil. Think about funerals, halvaya, or shiva. Think about limud Torah learning. Everything changed, and we were there as heroes. As heroes, the Jewish world showed, I think, flexibility and creativity, and it's amazing. I know that you can only guess what you've been through, but I know what we here have been through, and I started collecting those stories. But because I think the Jewish people should feel, much prouder. We can't underestimate what we did together. The majority, okay, people always see on TV those tiny sectors. I know you had it in London too. I read about it. The wedding in, where was it? I don't know, Stanford Hill, Hendon, I don't know. We read about it in Israel. This wedding, the other wedding. I know, think of it, when you hear about it in Israel, and I know it doesn't represent the Jews of, United Kingdom. So I guess you heard about the people in Israel. They had that event, all kinds of extreme groups that held events. Unfortunately, that doesn't represent the big story. I asked people everywhere, South Africa, Australia. I asked them, what did you do? And I found out I have, I think, more than 1,000 stories, videos, and pictures, photos, all kinds of, I think, elements, items. And I want to open one day, that's one of the plans, the COVID-19 museum, the Jewish COVID-19 museum. I want us to appreciate our devotion. Hashem watches us. Hashem sees us this year. Why aren't we happy with what we do? Why aren't we prouder in what we did together? Think about it. I want to show you just 2 examples from that COVID-19 museum. The first one I think is quite funny. Tell me what you think about this picture. I think, yeah, we can definitely present it in the COVID-19 museum. That's a creative guy from the Kotel here. Kippah plus mask. You do not see, by the way, he's smiling and laughing, but unfortunately, we will explain it. When we will take our grandchildren to that COVID-19 museum, we'll tell them, listen, we couldn't see faces for a year. We had to guess, is he smiling right now? That's just one example. But I think this example is much more important. And these are the minyanim outside. People are davening outside for a year in a very special atmosphere. New people come, secular neighbors, people who do not attend, they don't participate, they don't come, they don't know where the synagogue is in their neighborhood, but suddenly it's on the street. This picture was taken in, this is Dizengoff Square, the center of Tel Aviv. It's Tel Aviv, not Yerushalayim. Look at the people. It's before Yom Kippur. They're all dressed in white. You see the white shirts, and they go out for Kol Nidrei before Yom Kippur. There were more than 1,000 people out there. And you see it everywhere in Israel. I know you can't come right now. We miss you, by the way. I know you miss Israel. Israel misses you. Israel misses you. Yerushalayim is empty without you. Without your accent. Seriously, whenever I go to Machne Yehuda market and to the Kotel, obviously, you're not there. The tourists, the Jewish people, the Jewish world, it's your home too. And we miss you. So I wanted to describe, because you're not here, unfortunately, I just want to describe it. For a year, you had minyanim everywhere. Garden, parking lots. People were just, organizing small synagogues outside. It's very special. I think it's part of what it means living in a Jewish state. And it created, once again, I think, solidarity and devotion and love. My husband, I told him one day, I think we're writing new Hasidic tales 2 hours before Yom Kippur. Yedidia, he davens. We have this garden here. He organized everything for Yom Kippur with the mechitza and the sidurim and the chairs and the tables and the chazan and the sefer Torah. Everything was organized before Yom Kippur. We thought 100 people. It was allowed. The permission for 100 people. And then we get this text message 2 hours before Yom Kippur. Levy family, their daughter is positive. They need 10 men to stand under their window during Yom Kippur and pray for them. Pray with them. They want a minyan. I told him, take it. So he took one prayer. They had those lists. So he took mincha of Yom Kippur. He was standing there. You feel like I don't know, no shade, nothing is organized. You just stand under the window. Think about it. What would the Baal Shem Tov say? 10 Jews standing under the window, helping the Levi family for their Yom Kippur. This is a Hasidic tale. It's a new legendary. I think, as I said, we're writing a book, and you should see yourself as heroes. After what we've been through, each family, each Jew, see yourself as heroes. So these are the 2 words I wanted to share. Shlichut and Mesirut Nefesh. Taking upon a mission and showing self, I would say, devotion and self-sacrifice. I think those 2 concepts are, in a way, they became refreshed. I don't know. They're much more fresh for me after that year. I hope for you too. And I hope we will take it with us, Be'ezrat Hashem, to the days of Refuah Shlema and peaceful days and no COVID-19. It will become part of our history, but we will be able to take those 2 concepts with us to the future. So, Toda Rabba. I'd love to hear questions and comments and stories about what's going on in London. I'd love to hear. And thank you very, very much for being here. After a year of Zoom, that's really impressive that you still want to participate.
Wow, Sivan. I think we could listen to you for another 2 hours. So we're going to drag this out for 2 more hours so we can keep listening to you. I've got tons of questions. Does anyone else want to say anything I I didn't know what to expect from this evening. I know you can speak about a wide variety of things. I definitely feel the chizuk from what you're saying. You know, like I think it's so powerful what you say about you know what, we're all that the whole tafkid, the whole role of a Jew is shlichut, right? That's our mission. It's not that when we call, you know, when we're called the chosen people, it's not because we're better or greater. We have a tafkid, and our tafkid is shlichut, and that's we're the messengers. We've got to be those people. So it's very powerful what you say, and also Mesiras Nefesh or Mesiut Nefesh, whatever. It's I think we all have to write a book of the last year, and the small days and the small moments where, for us, I think a lot of us found it very difficult in the winter now, here in the UK, from sort of December, January, February, March, where the weather was really bad here, and bichlal, everything was closed. Like in Israel, everything was closed in January and February. Like the airport was shut, but here everything, schools, shops, and we couldn't even go outside. The weather was bad. And you look back to last year, Pesach, and just remembering, just speaking to many members of this community that were experiencing this the seder by themselves, literally on their own, and then you speak to people all over the country now that they can't see. Who was telling me the other day that someone hugged them, and they haven't felt the touch of another person for over a year. So I think, what you're saying, we have to take to heart. We have to write the book. We have to keep the pictures, and I want to come visit your museum as well. I'm very excited for the museum. Anyone got any questions or comments for Sivan? We have an opportunity. Anyone want to unmute yourselves and say anything? David, I think, go for it. Do you want to say something?
Good evening, Sivan. Shalom and Toda Rabah. That was really fabulous. Our son, who lives in Modi'in, when he heard that you were coming to speak to us here in Belmont, said you must make sure that you hear Sivan. He's part of the Darchei Tzion Kehillah, which some people call Belmont in Israel. So, which is very nice. I wanted to ask you a question, which is really more related to your to what you explained about yourself, not specifically about COVID. So you mentioned that I did the maths. It's sort of about 25 years ago, coming on to that. You said that you discovered Shabbat, or maybe Shabbat discovered you, and that was part of your journey. And the question I wanted to ask you, from where you sit as a journalist, as an observer in Israel, what do you see in terms of young Israelis today? Do you see young Israelis today also having that experience that you had, and how does it compare, let's say, with 5 years ago, 10 years ago, going back 25 years? I'd be very interested to get your perspective on that.
Wow. I think things changed, and things are much better now. When I started, there were no Yishai Ribo, Hanan Ben Ari, religious singers on Galgalatz. That's the popular radio station in Israel. And the playlist becomes much more Jewish and traditional and religious. Just one example. I had no music. I wanted to hear different songs. I didn't have the words. I had to go and search for something Hasidic. There was no internet, so I couldn't just Google Jewish music. I had to buy a Carlebach cassette. Now, we're not talking about, I'm not so old, 25 years ago. I had to buy a Shlomo Carlebach cassette and listen to it and learn something. Books are available now. Everything's open. Everything, as I said, available, so you can choose. Judaism is here. But in a way, Israel becomes more Jewish, but also becomes more, I think, global. It's parallel. You see two processes, and it's parallel. It's becoming more tradition. People are, I think, creating new type of Judaism here. Shabbat became something popular, and kashrut became much more popular. More kosher restaurants, but in a way, you see, I think, more Torah learning. Also, I think maybe the concept of being religious is cool. That's the main thing, I wasn't so cool as a secular. You can guess I wasn't so popular and cool. Also, as a secular, I was always, with glasses, writing, interviewing kids. That was me. So I became Orthodox. But today I think it's like cool, mitzvot. You see stars with tefillin. The dangerous thing is it can be very superficial, because I say Instagram culture, new media culture, everything is very superficial. Everything happens out there and not in here. I mean, people can put on tefillin, but the next video they post is let's say it's gently completely different. So it's like a mixture of good and bad, everything today. And so it makes it much more dangerous. When I was young, I all the Jews I met were very serious religious people. They taught me Torah seriously from the beginning. Now, I imagine myself at the age of 15 today. So the first thing I do is posting, a picture of me lighting Shabbat candles. It's not built. It's not based. It's not something fundamental. It's not really deep. But you're already on Facebook, so you're already, and people will speak to you about Shabbat before you even know what it is. It's not just about Judaism, which I described. This process, unfortunately, ruins many good things today, because look at the politics. Everything is like, journalism. Everything becomes superficial, and Judaism isn't superficial. So we must take care of, more serious learning and understanding before we become celebrities or Torah heroes. But yeah, definitely, I think things are completely different today, Baruch Hashem. And whenever you're in Modi'in, I think you see it. You see how everything develops for the best.
Thank you so much. Salvador has a question.
Hi, Sivan. Sivan, from with your journalist eyes, how do you see the world after the pandemic for Israel and for all of us around the world, for all the communities around the world? Where are we moving to?
Wow. At first, I thought it will change the world. I told you, I saw with my own eyes things that are not normal. I saw the world stops, in the middle, and I was privileged to fly and see it for 12 hours. What we saw there was shocking, okay? It's like someone turned off the light in the whole world, and it's just me seeing that thing and entering before Pesach, Israel. I was sure the Mashiach is going to come after Leil Seder, for sure. I think might take a few more days. I really believe that pandemic will change everything. My husband just told me it's a childish perspective. You need a deep change here. Okay, Hashem changes many things, but it's up to us if we change ourselves, and we still have a lot of work to do in this field. I mean, in Israel, the sectors, what's going on in Jewish education, there's still kids at the age of 15 knowing nothing about Shabbat. With the Jewish world, unfortunately, we're not in touch. We're not enough. The communities, by the way, I'm really worried. Jewish education is expensive. Maybe less kids will get Jewish education right now. I know you face different types of crises. In your communities, I discovered those empires of identity. Remember the Best Jacob Shul? It's empty for a year. Now what? Now Baruch Hashem they opened, but it's, and what about? And maybe it could be our mission, our task. There are many people who do not come, on like a regular daily basis. They are like Masorti, traditional. They're not really engaged. They don't pay for it. They're not really members. They're the circles around the community, the shul, the shiur, the Torah, the school. They're like not really involved. They're somewhere there. I'm afraid we lost them, because my husband told me our minyan, just the frum people who come to the minyan, they're there. Where are those dozens of people from the neighborhood? If the shul is closed, there's no kiddush, they can't come, it's cold, it's hot, no, they're sleeping. No, after the pandemic will end, where are they? Millions of Jews for a year. It's our responsibility to draw them in now, and things when it will end, we can't let them, disappear, walk away. So I think in a way, maybe our mission afterwards, because I told Mashiach, I wish Mashiach would come today, but I think we still have a few things to do. Maybe it should be our mission after this. Each Jew will choose one Jew, invite for Shabbat. Now we can eat together. Let's have Shabbat meal together. Now you can come to shul, please come. Now the shiur is open, you must come to the shiur. I mean, there are activities, Sunday schools, Jewish schools on Sunday, you must come. There's Chag Shavuot. I mean, it's if you are here, so it means you're really into it. Let's bring more Jews into it. I mean, we can lose so many people because of that pandemic, lose them spiritually. We lost many people physically. So I think maybe that should be our like slogan for the day after.
Wow, one answer. Anyone else want to ask a question? I think
Okay.
the questions. Sivan, can you share the details of you send an English WhatsApp, right, every day?
Yeah, definitely. I'll put here. Wait a minute.
In the chat, maybe.
Link. Do you get it, Rabbi?
You know what? I got it, and then I changed the phone, and then I didn't renew it stupidly, and then like people send around the bits. I get to read it anyway.
Okay,
I see on Facebook.
Okay. Do you see it now? The link on. Do you see the chat? Definitely. So you can definitely press here, or I'll give you another option, maybe easier. Wait a minute. Here you have all the languages. Baruch Hashem, we have how much? 12. We have 12 languages. Here you can look at my internet site and see all the. No, can you see everything? Okay. Yes, 2 links.
That's in Hebrew. That one.
All the languages and a group in English.
1 second. I'm adding to the chat the link you sent. The second one is all in Hebrew. I'm just sending you the one in English.
Okay.
There you go. So I've done it in English. So if you click on that second link, and if anyone wants, they can ask me for the details. I have the details. If you want a daily dose of inspiration, I mean, what Sivan wrote, I'll just show everyone, which I read straight after Meron, was I took a lot of inspiration from it, because as a rabbi, I think I spoke in the synagogue. I spoke on Shabbat morning, and I said at the beginning of the drasha, of the sermon, I said, for the rest of the world, we shouldn't speak. We can't speak. I felt the need, the responsibility as the rabbi of the community to say a few words, and I got chizuk from the fact that people shouldn't speak. From what Sivan wrote, she wrote like that now is not a time for talking. Now it's a time for tefillah and prayer and reflection, and I found that very powerful with a lot of chizuk. Friends that have been watching this evening, when I started off by saying this is something that you'll definitely appreciate tuning in for, and everyone now is going to tell everyone that didn't come that they have to watch the recording, which I'm going to put up. It was also on Facebook, and everyone now is going to sign up for Sivan's daily WhatsApps and follow her on social media if you didn't know about her before. And we are most certainly going to have Sivan come to Belmont and to join us here in Belmont. We're not one of the biggest communities in numbers, but we are one of the most passionate, caring, and you would get a lot of pride and joy to understand what has happened in our community over the last year, and understand what the community has done together, and looked after each other. And it's definitely, Belmont would have a whole floor in your museum in about COVID and what's been going on. Really, Be'emet, we've the people, the Mesirut Nefesh, the chesed, the kindness, the love, the support. We represent the very best of what a community should be. So we don't necessarily have the red carpets in the synagogue. We don't necessarily have the assistant rabbi and the youth rabbi, but we have an exceptional president and a wonderful team of people. And you have to come visit. You've heard of Stanmore, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So Stanmore's the other shul in our neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We're in Stanmore. They're the other synagogue. We're the main synagogue.
Great, I'd love to come. I don't know is it allowed today? I think not yet, right?
If you want to come, we'll get you in. No problem.
No, seriously, can you go and gather together like many people now or not? Not yet.
Odlo. We're inside the house, not possible. Outside from Shavuot, you can meet together outside. Even now, outside in very small numbers, and after Shavuot, the numbers get bigger. It's la'at.
So you can use, do you have a minyan now? Can you have a minyan inside the synagogue?
Yeah. We've had synagogue since before Pesach. We've been open.
Okay, great.
Since before
Okay.
Pesach. Very special to have you here. We really appreciate it. On behalf of everyone here that joined us this evening, everyone that's going to watch it again in the future, for everything and everyone, thank you so much. Wow, the chizuk has been immense. And please God, you should have a very uplifting Shavuot wherever you are. And for those of you that are watching tonight and want to join in tomorrow night, Sivan, you met Tzvi Sperber along the way, you know Tzvi?
I think so, yeah.
He's a good friend of Belmont, and we're doing a tour of the Gush tomorrow with him. He's made videos, and we're going to do a whole tour of the Gush tomorrow evening. So guys and girls watching, don't forget to tune into that. And you're getting all the messages in the chat telling everyone telling you how much they enjoyed it. So once again, shkoyach, toda rabba, kol hakavod, ve'laila tov. Thank you.
Thank you. Laila
Thank
tov,
you very
Yerushalayim.
much.
Thank you very much.
Laila tov.
Laila tov.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
תודה רבה.
Thank you.
תודה.
Thank you, Laila Tov.
Thank you very much. Toda rabba.
Thank you.
Bye. Laila Tov.
לילה טוב.